Hey, everybody. Welcome to day number, what is this? Day 4? Wow. Time flies when you're doing emails. We we have got some March Madness happening today in the form of making money with email. Um, y'all are doing great work already. I'd love to hear how it went with your efforts yesterday. Anybody do anything moderately email related that you want to talk about or that you want to brag about? And by getting any subscribers, that's always a nice thing if that's happening. And just been busy doing a platform switch. Those are so fun, aren't they? I hope it's going okay for you. That can be a little bit of a challenge and learning a new piece of software. So if you run into any trouble, let me know. Anybody else get anything done? Come on now. Started writing emails for the Forever series. Danae, star student. Bum bum bum. She's winning. She's got all the points right now. So good work, Danae. Starting moving around emails in my Forever series. So it's like, it's one here, we move it over here, move it over there. It feels like you do something when you move things. There's action, there's kinetic energy. Sitting down to work on the broadcast schedule today, but lots of signups yesterday. Okay, that's the winner right there. That's what we want to hear. Ari, congratulations. That's fantastic. Lucy's in the middle of designing her pop-up. Good. Save the recipe card broke last night. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And then cleaned out the email list. That's probably a good deleted thousands. Felt good too. Felt good. So let's talk about that for a second. I don't spend a ton of time on list pruning with this particular mastermind. Generally speaking, though, these tactics that we're implementing here, you'll discover that you'll grow your list much faster than ever before. And of course, in that process, you'll find a whole bunch of people that will go cold that you need to prune out. Okay. Otherwise, the cost of your list becomes something that you don't really get excited to pay. Also, it's best for your deliverability efforts. Just a note on deliverability. I told you about this the other day, I think, but it's your sender reputation. It's not anything else. Some people ask, should you have images in emails? Should you not use the word free in subject line? Those days are gone where we worried about that, used to worry about that stuff. AOL, Comcast, Yahoo, Gmail, all the email providers are much smarter now, and it's all about your sender reputation. So pruning your list is a helpful tool in keeping your overhead lower, but it's also helpful in keeping your deliverability high, which is a result of you got people on your list that like your stuff. Okay. I will prune my list once a quarter is usually what I'm doing. Some people I know do it much more aggressively and some don't do it as much. Remember, even with in the email and autopilot, I have a win back process that you can borrow. Feel free to change up the messaging in there to make it your voice, but you feel the general process in there works pretty well to create a segment of cold subscribers and then send them a win back and ask them to engage. And then if they don't, you delete them. So that's typically what I do. And once you get that process set up once, you can kind of turn it on again, just duplicate it, run it again next quarter, and it's very minimal work for you. There was another point I was going to make on that, and I don't remember it. Can an email sequence to people who are inactive now hurt deliverability, or should we just cull the people without a re-engagement segment? That is a great question, Sam. It depends. I have an audience, if somebody comes to me and says, look, I've got this list of 80,000 people and I haven't emailed them in 5 years, I say, you don't have a list. And you're just going to hurt your sender reputation if you even try. That's just the bad news there. Those people are cold and gone. And so you need to move on. So I don't know in your case, Sam, what that is, but if it's just been a little while and you haven't done it, then I would start there. By the way, the other piece that's happening here is that if you're using my system, they're getting a couple emails a week now, right? So if you haven't been doing my system, the first step is start doing that system. Boom, ba boom, ba boom. And they're going to start getting emails. You'll have enough, you've given them enough sends where you can find out if they can fog a mirror or not. Okay, other questions here before I got off on that tangent, or not questions. People are doing good work. Added pop-up my quick start guide last night, 50 signups so far. Amy, bring in the thunder. I love it. Brittany's seeing subscribers to the quick start guide. That's exciting, and had a fantastic Zoom meeting about probably list pruning, I'm guessing. That's great. Brittany, congratulations. How long do you think we should test the pop-up before trying a different hook? You want to give it a week or so at least. It kind of depends. Olivia, you're asking that question for a reason. So let's talk about it. Go ahead and unmute.
Well, I'm just wondering, just in general, like I haven't had any signups with the new thing, but it hasn't really been that long. And so you don't want to be impatient. You want to like give it time to sort of pick up. So I'm wondering, how long do I test the hook before trying to sort of tweak it and see if that gets more subscribers?
If you'd like me to look at it, I'd be happy to do that. Because usually what's happening, so if you're getting any traffic at all, if you don't get much traffic, then that's one thing, right?
Right.
You're just statistically speaking, a 0.5% conversion rate in order to, you'd have to have 200 people before you got one, right? So if you don't have 200 people, statistically it's gonna be tough. But so that's the first thing. Second, well, yeah, that's probably the most important thing. Does anybody see it? And if they don't seeing it, then why? Because it's on the sidebar? Well, if you put it on the sidebar and that's the only place that you have it, then yeah, good luck. Nobody's gonna ever see that. And on a mobile, nobody sees it's at the bottom. So if you're not doing pop-ups everywhere, then that might be part of the reason too. So first of all, is anybody seeing it? Second of all, is there a reason that the form itself isn't converting? It could be technically it just isn't working. Have you run through it and tested it yourself to make sure you get it? So that's always kind of a baseline. Additionally, it could be design. The design could be stinky and just not, people could be blind to it. And lastly, not lastly, but yeah, probably lastly is it just doesn't solve the problem that you thought it did. Kind of like what I don't know if you stuck around, but what Rosemary and I were talking about on hers with, it was solving a problem, but was it really solving the problem that they care about? Case in point. So I've been doing this process for a long time. I had this food blogger that I went in, I looked at their traffic. She was getting tons of pie. Did I tell you this story already? I might have. She was getting tons of traffic to pie. So I created this pie quick start guide for her, thinking that was the genius thing to do. How to bake the perfect pie or something like that. And crickets, nothing. So when I sat back and think about it, I'm like, well, why are they coming for pie? What's their motivation? Well, most people just bake a pie once, maybe once in their life, or they're entertaining for a particular reason or Thanksgiving or something. It's not that they want to make pie all the time. But what I did learn about them is that they're into baking. They're at least willing to, to pull out a pan and grease it. So we tried some general baking stuff and that took off. So we just weren't solving the right problem is what I'm getting at. Long-winded. That was so long-winded, Olivia. I'm happy to look at yours and anybody else's. If you would like to, in the chat, put where I can see the lead magnet. I've viewed approximately 250,000 lead magnets in my time, and so I might have an opinion if you want me to look at it. Okay. I have an unrelated question. In addition to my welcome series, I have a separate series for people who are interested in a more niche set of recipes. They are running concurrently. Is it bad to have those running at the same time? Okay, so Ari, are you saying they're already on the list? Because the quick start guide is getting people onto the list. And this other thing.
So what I was running before yesterday was a different, like a 3-day series, and everyone received it when they signed up. But now that I have the more generalized quick start series, they would have to select which one they would like to receive, and some people want both. So if they check the box for both, then they are getting, both series at the same time.
Got it.
Is that a terrible idea?
No, just thinking that through. I seldom ask them. I just do. Like I just send it to them, and when I do that, then I can control it better. Like, they get this and then they get that. And so what you're saying is they're signing up basically at the same time for two different series.
Yep, exactly.
And
And
then
it's their choice. I'm not forcing it on them. Yeah.
yeah, and if their choice, I would probably until it presents itself as a problem, we don't necessarily need to solve the problem. I guess the one proactive thing I would do there is make sure they go at different times. Because like if you're running in,
They're currently going the same time.
is it ConvertKit?
No, it's in Flowdesk.
So in
I know.
Flowdesk in your automations, can you set the time of day that it goes?
Yes.
So I would have one go in the morning, one go in the afternoon, and just at least that way, if they're getting both, they're getting them at different times.
Awesome. Thank you.
I've been doing email marketing for 4 whole weeks, says Jennifer. I started off strong with a free project plan. I'm a little worried that changing my lead magnet may make people ask for the planner because it created a little buzz. If somebody asks you for a tool that you have, then I would absolutely send it to them. Jennifer, can you unmute? Let's talk about that for a second. So just to be clear, are you switching to a quick start guide concept, but you had this freebie that you were giving previously? I don't know if you have a mic or anything. If not, all right. No, it doesn't seem to work there.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you are. Yep.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
So are you switching to a quick start guide and you had a freebie before, or explain it to me a little bit more?
Yeah, so when I launched, I sort of made it like an event. Like I have big news, I'm starting an email newsletter, and I did this, I'm in the crochet niche. So I did a planner, and everybody's loving it, getting great feedback, but I really love the concept that you have, and I want to transition over to that because my goal is to direct them to my website. So I just want to, I guess, transition them without any pains to the new lead magnet.
Okay. So let's think about, I may not answer the question the exact same, the way that you're asking it. What you've done, let's say that you have this planner. And by the way, in crochet, you probably have patterns. Each one of those could be a lead magnet in and of itself. If you're just giving away free patterns, then I suggest putting a form on each one of them, or at least your most popular one, and ask them to give you your email address, and then you deliver it to them via email. But that's a separate conversation. But each one of these things, a quick start guide, a planner, these are all lead magnets. Each one of them is an asset that you now have going forward that you can use in all sorts of different ways. So for example, you take that planner that worked great and you did the launch. I love the launch idea, by the way. Everybody, I hope you glommed on to what Jennifer was saying there. She made an event out of this lead magnet. That's fantastic. Anyway, she says, I've got this project planner and you can get it right now, probably on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, right? That's kind of what you did?
Yes, I shared across all my platforms, YouTube, etc.
Fantastic. Okay, so then they sign up. You can rerun that any old time you want. You can run that back next month. You can make it an evergreen thing. You can keep you can copy what you could create a more evergreen version of that says, hey, one of the biggest struggles with doing your projects is not knowing how to plan. I've made this planner. You record it, hold yourself up, put on 12 different sweaters, and you've got one per month of the same thing. And then you just schedule it with your social media, rerun that thing. Now, if you make a quick start guide, could be a different thing. And your audience might react, some people might react differently to the quick start guide concept. This time we're talking about spring crochet projects. It's five days of the easiest spring crochet projects ever. And then you do the same thing in summer and sweater weather and all that. But that planner is always still there. And you can keep rolling that out. Also, another thing that you can do is in that crochet, let's say you do the spring quick start guide. at the very first part, if you love that planner and you really legit think it like brings them closer to you and they love it, why not share that in the first email? Hi, Matt, welcome to 5 days of insert title here. We're going to do a ton of great projects this spring, and over the next 5 days, I'm going to share my favorites that are so easy to do, and you can do them on a weekend. But to start with, the biggest thing I'm asked for recently is this project planner, and I'm giving it to you for free because you are an email subscriber. Get it here. Now, on to the projects.
Okay, that's awesome. I was having a really good run. I'm getting about 100 subscribers a day, 1 to 200 a day, and so I was really worried to change anything, I guess.
No, so I want you to get addicted to that, Jennifer. I want you to think about that, because that will run its course. You know, going back to, if you recall, in the very first session, I told you about Ralphie Jacobs, the Instagrammer, the no yell week. That's exactly what she did. She said, hey, everybody, this is no yell week. She made an event out of it. And all week long, because she had created an event, it's like she gave herself permission to just keep talking about this quick start guide that she'd made, because she made an event. Now, she can still roll that out in the future, and she does in an evergreen fashion. Did you know I have this free resource? She can have a Canva image made that she just throws up there on her Instagram with a link to it, the landing page. But you can make events out of the spring crochet projects and the summer crochet projects and the fall crochet projects.
Okay. Yeah,
Love
I've
it.
definitely been doing your approach of the aggressive, like you were saying before, with the the 10 seconds with the pop-up popping up, and I think there's definitely a testimonial there for that. I have the pop-up, I have a footer, so I've been kind of hitting it pretty aggressively, and it's been delivering. So
Yeah.
that's been good.
The other thing too, for any of my people who have printables or crafts, if you're not putting a form on it, did you ever watch Portlandia? They had this one where there's like, put a bird on it. Anyway, I'm just thinking, same deal. If you're not putting a form on it, you're missing out on an opportunity to grow your lists in a big way there too. Now, on that, I hope everybody that's in that space understands what I'm saying. When you do printables, I do suggest turning it into a quick start guide. I give a printable, you can set up the sequence that then drops them into a related evergreen series or something. So, hey, Matt, as promised, here's your whatever you downloaded. Tomorrow, I'll be back with something that's awesome. You know, I'll be back with the start of my 3-day series of how to be better at crochet. And then, or the world's easiest crochet patterns. And then day 1, day 2, day 3. So you create the individual forms, and then they funnel into the sequence that you use all the time.
Okay.
It's a way to get over the grab and go mentality that you never hear from these people again, right? And that's the problem with printables. So they can work great for growing a list, but how do we get them to be an engaged list? Well, you send them immediately additional stuff that helps them and brings them back to your blog, not just a PDF. Okay, Lucy's working on a tech issue. All right, let's take a look at it. Olivia's taking me up on it. Let's bring up my current pop-up is 3 secrets to affordable getaways, and one of my highest traffic is 7-day Puerto Rico itinerary.
It's actually affordable luxury getaways. That's a typo. So the word luxury should be
Okay.
in there.
All right, let me share my screen here. All right. Puerto Rico. I had a great time in Puerto Rico. I think it's a highly underrated, a lot of people don't get it. 3 secrets to affordable getaways. Okay. Is this ConvertKit? Okay.
Yeah, it's ConvertKit.
In my course, there is some CSS on, you're using a Poplar here, I think, right? Is this Poplar?
Yeah, either that or Charlotte or something.
Okay, just as an aside, there's some CSS for Poplar in particular that will take this X and stick it right here, and it'll make it so you can actually see it. It'll be either it'll be the white on black or on a color, and so people can actually click it and see it. So that's
Okay.
just a better practice. I don't see anything wrong here. If I'm nitpicking, that's all I can do right now, Olivia, is maybe the image needs to be more palm trees and fancy something. This looks like a nice, very comfortable getaway in a very nice room, but it doesn't scream, lifestyles of the rich and famous, I suppose. It just looks like a great hotel room, which is fine, but I want more. I guess I think you get it.
Yeah, nitpick away.
How
That's
many
what I'm here for.
views has this got?
I think like 1,000.
And 0 subscribers.
Yeah, just one, and it was me testing it.
Okay, well, this is the trick with travel.
hmm
We have a disconnect between, and is this everywhere or just on
Yeah.
Puerto Rico?
Yeah, it's
And
on
literally
every
nothing.
page. No, nothing.
It's a little surprising.
Yeah. Well, usually, and all of the higher traffic articles right now, if I were to name like, excuse me, if I were to name like a top 5 or something like that, are all either right now itineraries or like a weekend getaway. But a lot of my brand is primarily kind of revolving around, excuse me, is revolving around outdoors of some sort or wellness of some sort, like including it, although not primarily focused on it. So I'm wondering if this sounds affordable luxury getaways, like does that sound maybe too, I'm in the hotel and not getting out and seeing things and doing things.
Right. I guess it could be. Is this double opt-in?
Like sending the confirmation email that
Mhm.
says, yeah, I think that's still on,
Okay.
but I don't even have anyone like sitting in that.
Well, are you sure you've gone and looked at the unconfirmed list? So in ConvertKit, there's a, let me see if I find it. I'll show you what I mean. And you're getting some feedback about the photo here as well. If I go to subscribers and then I go to unconfirmed subscribers, I'd be interested to see if you have anybody that falls into that. Yeah, I guess experiment with the photo. Let's give it a little bit more time.
Okay,
Um,
I'm checking the subscribers right now, but yeah.
Switch to single opt-in.
Okay.
And there's other things that we could do where if we were spending time on this, like you said, maybe we're not solving the right problem. That could
Right.
be it.
Right.
But I may also, can I get jazzier with this? I don't know.
Right.
How I got a 5-figure vacation on a 3-figure budget, or that's terrible. That was terrible. Something like that. It's just mess with how can we make this more BuzzFeedy, and a hook there.
I had one unsubscribed from today. Excuse me, unconfirmed from today. So I can turn that off.
Yeah. So, I mean, that would help with our conversion rates right there. But yeah, so give it a little bit more time. The other piece here too is that the thing is, so see this, okay, I'm going to be kind of a jerk for a second. This concept of your audience responds well to adventures and outdoors is you don't have an audience yet. This is a Google search. This is not an audience. So
Yeah,
your existing audience, the people that are already with you, are irrelevant in this example. So if somebody is searching on outdoors stuff, then yeah, we should probably have an outdoor hook. If they are searching for Puerto Rico, which is which is most likely, then what we should be doing is we should have a Puerto Rico opt-in. But what we were trying to do is get something general that could work site-wide and get something out quickly, right? Is that fair?
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
jerk mode, but
That's not jerk.
well, it felt jerky inside. So, all right, I'm going to move on here, but
Thank you.
probably what I would do, Olivia, is I would whip out for because do you have this categorized by Puerto Rico?
Yeah, under like the destinations in the menu.
Okay. Is that in WordPress?
Yes, it's WordPress.
You have a Puerto Rico category in WordPress.
No, I have a Puerto Rico tag in WordPress. My categories are like outdoors, wellness, and itineraries.
Okay. I'm trying to think if you can do that with the ConvertKit plugin on tags. I don't know if you can.
For like
but
an RSS or
of your tags inside WordPress. If you have, is this your main Puerto Rico highly trafficked post? And there's probably 3 or 4 more.
Yeah.
Okay, then I would come up with kind of like what Anna's saying. I would come up with something related to Puerto Rico. I just whip something out, even if you don't even have the emails ready. I would whip something out and I would throw the pop-up up, very similar to what you made there, but it would be, images of Puerto Rico, and it would say, free email bonus, my perfect Puerto Rico itinerary, get it now, something like that. And so then that sequence could be something like email number 1, what to do in Puerto Rico. Email number 2, the differences between the north side of the island, east side of the island, and so right, and so on and so forth. And whatever you're going to put in there that just drives them back to your existing Puerto Rico content. But I would probably just, for the sake of going fast, I would whip out a pop-up, throw that up on those, because in the ConvertKit plugin, you go into each post and you can say, I want this pop-up, not the luxury vacations pop-up.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay.
So you want me to do the Puerto Rico one just for the Puerto Rico articles, or for all? Okay.
Just for Puerto Rico articles, just because we're matching their search intent to
the content.
to what you have. And then if you find out that works, then you rinse and repeat for other destinations.
Okay.
I assume you're picking Puerto Rico because you get more traffic on Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that one is the highest for right now, but
Right.
I get like nervous because we're entering hurricane season in the summer. So, like people aren't looking for Puerto Rico like then,
Right.
but I can cross that
But
bridge when I
it'll
get
be
there.
there for even if the numbers are fewer, because somebody might be planning a trip 6 months out, 8 months out, So it'll be there for you as an asset going forward, even if it's not perfectly timed. All right, give
Okay.
that a whirl.
Thank you.
Thanks for being willing to share that. All right, let's dive in here. I shared some of these thoughts at a conference called Tastemaker, which is specifically for food, this past week in Chicago. And I'm going to share some of those slides with you here because I think they are relevant. We know that everything is changing in this space. And the point of this slide was what would I do if I knew that I had 6 months before I was facing some sort of traffic, major changes to my traffic? And that would, for me, big shock would be to build my list as big as possible. With a bigger list, as we've talked about, you can drive traffic to where you want it to go. So you're not at the mercy of an algorithm. If you need to pivot and move to a different platform, like let's say that, okay, well, you know what? I'm going to double down on YouTube now. Let's go. You can take your audience and say, hey, I'm moving to YouTube. Start watching my YouTube videos. And you can send them emails about your YouTube videos instead of your blog posts, just as a silly example. And then unlocking additional revenue streams. We're going to talk a lot more about that. Going back to jerk mode, because that's what I'm doing today, apparently. One of the things I said on stage was, all right, you have a website that ranks #1 for something, or Pinterest sends you traffic. Congratulations, but you probably don't have a brand. It's time now to get serious about your audience. Remember that whole your audience stuff. Who is it? What makes you special? How are you different from every other Puerto Rico itinerary out there? You're more than just a search result. And when you have a big list, you can start to communicate that. I'm not telling you in this session, I'm in this mastermind, how to do that. I'm helping you to build a big list, helping you to get some systems into place and use email marketing automations and doing some segmentation, all of that. But it's still your voice and your message. I firmly believe that what makes you special are the problems that you can solve for people, and articulating that to people. All right, so let's talk about different ways that we can make money with email. Now, here's a let's get real question. Some of you have just diving into list growth, and what some of you may be hoping for is a magic formula. I'm going to wave my wand and presto, I'm going to start making money instantly. All right. Not a realistic approach. I have a slide here that I forgot to pull up that I need to grab that is relevant to Raptive. My point, though, is as we look at all the stuff I'm going to tell you about with email, all these different ideas, it requires the build. None of these are going to be out of the box super simple. Okay. Doggone it. I totally forgot. I need that particular slide. So give me a quick second here. How many of you are familiar with what Raptive is doing with the, do you get what's happening with the newsletter ID program? Somewhat. Okay. I have no idea where I put those slides. Okay, we're going to do my best without it. And if I need to go into more detail tomorrow, I will. My apologies for that. But email number one, what I'm going to do is share secret number one. There are a few easy ways to make money, but not too many. The first one is this. Follow what, in this case, what Raptive is doing. Pay very close attention. All right, we're going to talk briefly about Raptive's approach. First-party data is their answer, or one of the answers. It's not the answer. It's one of the answers to the disappearance of Google cookies. Generally speaking, they are investing a lot of money in this. I don't know, have you watched? Some of you just switched recently. But if you've been paying attention, they bought, it's been 2 years now, they bought Slickstream. They have invested in building out a team. They're paying people like me to do sessions like this. And then, as of late, they have introduced newsletter identity capture. And they are hammering it if you're not paying attention. They care very, very deeply about this. So, why? Well, an email address is a solid possible replacement for the whole cookie situation. Remember, the whole thing with cookies is that third-party cookies, they could basically follow your behavior around the internet. So they knew which sites that you'd visited, and therefore they get a sense of who you are and what type of stuff you might respond to. And then they show you ads accordingly, and then the ad companies make more money. It's cheaper for the brands to do it, but it's more targeted to you because you react more to it. Well, email address does the same thing. It's called first-party data now because it's yours. It says, you know, mmullen@gmail.com is related. That's Matt Mullen. And when he does stuff with that email, we know that's him. So what they do is they use email addresses to identify who you are and what you're into. So my email will tell people that, you know what, Matt cares very deeply. You know, maybe he bought a Honda once, and he stayed at a Marriott, and he drinks too much Diet Mountain Dew because he orders it online all the time, right? They're going to start to get that sort of stuff. What they do is they take those email addresses and they do what's called hashing. They make it so you can't really tell what the email address is. mmullen@gmail.com becomes gobbledygook bunch of characters. So nobody could tell who I am. But it gets added to this thing called a data clean room. This is my very rudimentary understanding of it all. And then they go, okay, well, that hashed email that we don't know who that is exactly likes Honda, Marriott, and Diet Mountain Dew. Let's advertise to them accordingly. So they send more targeted ads. The bottom line here is that more emails equals better targeting, and better targeting equals more dollars from advertising. Now, when I say more emails, we're coming back to this. What Raptive wants you to do is at the end of every URL, anything that you send out in email, you add, and this is ConvertKit, but they have it for MailChimp too. You add this at the end of the link. You need to look up your platform to see the best way to do it. Here's Flowdesk's, okay? So this email address, which normally would have been homedecorsite.com/article1, now becomes homedecor.com/article1 gobbledygook, all right? You want to do this manually on every email. They are paying already much higher RPMs for people who are ID'd this way. So that means that somebody clicks on it and IDs them. ConvertKit plugin does not do this. There's no platform that does this automatically yet. I would be surprised if this does not become an automated thing by somebody somewhere sometime, because there's too much money in this. What about automated RSS emails? You need to put this at the end of those automated RSS emails too. So it depends on how your platform works. But in ConvertKit, it'll basically say, it'll give a variable that looks, you know, it's these brackets post.url, and then you can at the end add, in ConvertKit case, you can add this to the end of that. So that's how you do that in the RSS feed in ConvertKit specifically. In other platforms, you would probably do something very similar. Does this mean each URL in the newsletter itself? Yes, each. They sent you instructions in MailChimp to show. They sent me instructions to show for merge tags. That's what this really is. Okay, is that, but you still have to add that at the end. It's this. This is called a merge tag, Melissa specifically. So, is it worth it? So far, what James Baldwin, who's in charge of this stuff at Raptive, tells me is absolutely. They are seeing significantly higher RPMs on this stuff. So I hope that you take that into consideration. Easy way number 2 to make more money with email. Send more emails. I know that's cheating. I did a quick test. I asked before this last session, so this is very current data. I asked 13 or so of people that I work very closely with, and I knew they would turn the data around for me. I asked them to look at their February sessions RPMs, and they're all on ConvertKit. Okay, so in this case, it was ConvertKit session RPMs versus the overall session. So 11 of them got back to me. Their overall sessions, these are all food people, by the way, so your RPMs may be totally different if you're in a different niche, but the point is still the same. Their RPMs was this on everybody else, Pinterest and just everything's peanut buttered together. But ConvertKit specifically was 22% difference. Now, this was a wide range. There were people that had up to 45% difference. Okay, what's my point? Send more emails. You will make more money when people click through than your normal RPMs will tell you. Raptive does not have this in the dashboard yet. These people had to go ask, and I had to have James help them get those numbers. But James told me that they are building this into the dashboards. You'll be able to tell from your email client what those RPMs look like. So these identity captures only help the specific blogger that gets them from their subscribers, or is this info shared within the ad network? That's such a great question, Danae. I believe in Raptive's case, it is specific to your audience. I'm not 100% on that. I don't know if Raptive is able to glean from the email address. Ari, you've heard differently for Raptive? Okay. Okay, cool. I hope that's the case. Well, I think Raptive does. I'll take a note and I'll ask that question. Let me pause for a second while I make a note, because I will forget if I don't do it right now, and then I'll come back to, hopefully I'll get an answer and come back to you tomorrow with an answer to that question. Question from my mastermind. Okay. All right. Moving forward, James will tell me specifically, and I'll know he is the man, so I'll know for sure. All right. Easy way number 3 to make more money with email. Send more emails about your biggest money makers. Not all your posts are created equal. Now, this is going to be tough in certain cases. However, if you have general topics and you can choose what to send out, all else being the same, why wouldn't you choose those that make more money? Here's an example. In this is one of my sites. You can see here that over this time period, I took 32,000 page views to make $620 here. But with this one, with the much higher RPM, 2.5 times, it took me 11,000 page views to make $530. Almost the same amount, not quite, but close. What are you doing? Are you finding creative ways to share and email your highest earning posts? With the Forever Series concept, this is a great little trick. Go in there and find, if you're doing roundup style stuff, make sure some of those real nice higher RPM ones are in there. Okay. Easy way number 4. I actually need to pull up the form for you here. You can tell I am making this one up. This is an evolving session for me, okay? Easy way number 4 is to understand your ROI. I'm going to share this right here. I'm going to copy this link and put it in the chat, and then I will also paste it into the Facebook group for those that are watching the replay. If you're on the chat, go get this. What you'll do is you'll need to come up and hit File. Oops. Hit File, make a copy. And then you can modify these elements. The things in yellow are the variables you can change. And decide, am I actually making money with what I'm doing now? Or is this cost center not a profit center? You may find that, you know, it makes sense to pay annually, get that cost down. You may find that, you know, maybe I go from 8 cents to 10 cents a month and start looking at that. And you can see, on the face of that, with this RPMs, do I make money? A lot of people never understand this, and they just think that they're just sending emails and there's this cost, and they don't see how they're actually making money, how this is actually impacting you. So that's probably step number 1. Okay. Any questions on that so far? All right, let's move on. Now we're going to get into the harder ways to make money with email. More ways to make money. Okay. Have you got your marketing 101 hats on? I don't see any hats on, so whatever. There it is. Start with this. What problem can you solve? I'm inviting you to answer that question. I'm inviting you to go for a quiet walk around your neighborhood and think about this. Because many content creators, many bloggers don't do this. Some of us were excited about a Disney cruise at one time, and boom, created a website and then figured out that SEO was a thing. And then, oh, if I make this checklist or I talk about that topic, I might rank. And then Raptive is going to pay me even more. But I'm not really thinking about what do I know and what problem can I solve for people. It's a little backwards in some cases to how other businesses get built. Content creation is sometimes like that. I'm not saying you're like that, but if you are, you might need to take that step back. And then think about this. The power of segmentation. All right? Poor Olivia's over there trying to help the people that want to go to Puerto Rico and the people that want to go to New York City and the people that want to go to Hawaii and the people that want to go to Cape Town, South Africa. I don't know. Those are not the same people. My Disney Cruise people are very different from my Disney Coloring Pages people, which are different probably than the people going to Disney World over spring break, bless them, right? What can we do with our lists? Segmentation, I'm talking about creating different parts of your list by reader type and then sending them specific messages. This is the type of thing most of us haven't done with email. By the time you get to me, people start talking to me, they're like, I've never done this. I just send one thing to everybody. Why would I bother? Because you're going to provide more answers, more relevant answers. In the case of the Disney cruise, I can provide really, really great answers that will save time and money. If I just sent them general Disney stuff, it's not going to hit them where it really helps. When you do segmentation, you're going to get better open rates. You're going to narrow down your solutions for your audience, and then you're going to increase your sales, which are coming next. Ultimately, this is something I believe very firmly in the world of content creation. Do you know how much brands spend on branding alone? Just think about the cost of a Super Bowl ad. Of the biggest brands in the world, it's not like we've never heard of McDonald's, Mercedes, Budweiser, Doritos. This is not new. Why are they doing this? Because they've got to keep that brand front and center. You and I have a different challenge. We're unknowns. Solve my problem and maybe I'll buy from you. It is really, really hard to sell anything until you have built up trust. Here's an example. I had a food blogger a couple years ago tag me, somebody I'd never met, tag me in a Facebook group. And the gist of the message was, this email stuff doesn't work, and tagged me. This email stuff doesn't work. I launched an ebook and I didn't sell anything. And I tried selling it exclusively through my email list. And I took the bait. I'm like, okay, let's go through this. I got on the phone with her and I talked to her. I said, okay, what were you selling? The ebook was about how to eat healthy. So this lady had gone through a health journey of her own, and she had switched up her whole view on life about her diet. I said, okay, how did people get on your list to start with? Well, she ranks really high for fried chicken and other comfort food recipes. Okay, so we're getting people that got onto your list that wanted fried chicken and comfort food recipes. How many times do you email them? Oh, my RSS feed goes out once a week. Okay, and then what did you send them? I sent them an email telling them I had this ebook, and nobody bought it. I'm like, do you not see the problem here? But I think, and this poor woman, I'm picking on her, of course. I hope I was nice to her in the moment. But this is what we do. We don't really think this through. We're like, oh, well, I banged this out. Everybody should buy it. But the reality is, okay, anybody who knows I know Olivia does, but anybody besides Olivia know who Rick Steves is? I'm a big Rick Steves fan. He's a travel expert. Joe, of course, you know. So he's a travel expert specific to Europe. I've followed him for a very long time. I have got his books from the library many times. I have read his stuff online. I've watched his PBS shows. I've watched his YouTube videos, and I've listened to his audio tours. I trust Rick. Do you know how much money I've spent on Rick Steves? Not a lot. I may have bought like one book once on one trip. And I trust this man. I will tell everybody how awesome Rick is. I know where he lives in Edmonds, Washington. Okay, this is nuts. He's not even getting my money though, directly. Of course he is through all this other stuff. That's how hard it is to build trust in this space. Okay, I'm spending way too much time on this. So let's move on. I think you get the point. So what do? Build your list, thriving list, cater to those people, write those emails, create forever series for different segments like I do for the Disney cruise. I've got one. I've got a different one for the Aulani people, and they run until I run out of content. And then I try to figure out what else I can send them. Send those AHA solutions over and over again for free, and then monetize after you've built trust. So what are your top segments? Let's take a moment. I want you to jot them down. You may not have, it may be obvious. It may be obvious. But until you write these down, you have not prioritized them. So I really want you to think about this. What are your top segments right now? We know that Rosemary's got everybody in Portugal, going to Portugal. So maybe that's a top segment for Rosemary. I love having so many great travel creators on this session because that's the thing I love. I'll talk about that in just a second, Jennifer. If you're feeling bold, drop them into the chat here. Thank you, Lucy. Lucy, kids party planning, organizing family life, time management for parents. For a recipe blog, should you make segments based on what your top posts are? Probably, right? Because you can build for that. Now, there is something to be said for who do you want to be when you grow up? And you know that you're probably investing time creating content on, on the Greek Isles. And you anticipate being a subject matter expert there. But right now, unless the segment is something you just fluked into, like you happen to rank #1 for raspberry zucchini cheesecake or something, and you don't really want to do any raspberry zucchini cheesecake type recipes going forward, that it was an accident. But take your main ones that you're getting traffic for. Pizza, that's a great segment. Okay, did you write them down? Only a couple of you shared. I'm going to assume that you did. So the idea here is, do you run, so growing food, houseplants, maintenance, propagation, food preservation. So those are different, aren't they, Amy? There's crossover there, but those are not necessarily the same. What do? You create a quick start guide for each one of them. You create a quick start guide for air fryer. You create a quick start guide for your Instant Pot. You create a quick start guide for your slow cooker. That's how you segment. It's really hard to go back and build out these segments. These are different ways that you can do this. You can go back and send a survey. How often do you actually fill out the surveys? Plus, then you got to figure out technically, how do I match up Ari to her propensity to love all things flambéed? That's a segment, right? I'm sure it is, the flambé segment. You can also do something where you tag your links. So let's say Manali sends out, my favorite recipes, Indian recipes to make this weekend. I'm making something up. And one of them is an Instant Pot recipe. If somebody clicks on that Instant Pot recipe, we know that they are probably interested in Instant Pot. Okay, so you can do that. You can also do retroactive list forensics. What do I mean by that? Okay, so Rosemary's had 4 different quick start guides out there. If she's not been creating a segment, so to speak, in her audience, which is usually just a label or a tag, she could go back to every one of those forms and say, okay, these people signed up for my Hawaii thing. These people signed up for my Paris thing. And these people signed up for my Portugal thing. Okay, what does that tell me? And if you can garner any trustworthy segmentation data from that, then you can drop them into that. But ultimately, going forward, I've just not found anything that beats this. And not just the quick start guide, but it could also be It could also be the printables, or, if it's a sewing pattern, that they're into sewing. Okay. All right, did I miss? And then what? Well, in the case of my Disney cruisers, they get their own Forever series. I have a general Disney interest Forever series as well. So which of these things, does that make sense for you? I don't know. It might. Let's use the Instant Pot example for a minute. Let's say that Manali only has 5 Instant Pot recipes. That's it. They came in through, she's got them tagged, or they come in through a quick start guide or something, and you know that they're into Instant Pot. She's only got 5 more. Well, so what if she sends 1 to 5 more emails with Instant Pot stuff in it? That's still better than general, because she knows they have a specific problem that she can solve. Disney Cruise example, let's say that I've got 30 Disney Cruise emails in my Forever series. Once they're done with that, Disney Cruise isn't like cooking. I can't just repeat back through those. With food, you could probably, cycle through it a little bit. But with Disney Cruise, they're kind of done. Plus, they probably took the vacation. So what do? In that case, I drop them into the general Disney interest. I do my darndest, because at least for 30 weeks, they're starting to get to know who I am and click on my stuff and be served by doing so. And if I'm on top of it, hopefully during that time, I've done some of the other stuff that we're going to talk about tomorrow, which is sell them something, have a sponsorship arrangement with somebody, have ads in the newsletter, have affiliate offers that are related to that, like trip insurance, and so on and so forth. Okay, I start to monetize or sell because I'm serving. That makes sense? Some of you are still stuck, probably. So I'm gonna pause this now. Tomorrow, we're gonna dive into those very specific things, as I mentioned: affiliate, sponsorships, ads and newsletters, selling your own products. But tomorrow we'll dive into that in those different ways that you can do it. If you have to go, I will see you tomorrow when we jump into that. If you have any questions about the stuff that we've talked about, I'm going to answer the ones that are here in the chat, and then if you have any others, feel free to ask. Also, if you have any today and tomorrow, if you have an opt-in that you want me to look at, like we did with Olivia, where it might not be performing like you were hoped, I'm happy to look at it. All right, but if you got to go, we will see you tomorrow. This is my farewell till tomorrow. So do you run one segment until you build a good list, then deactivate that quick start guide and start the next one? I don't understand that question, Brittany. If I am getting traffic for Disney Cruise stuff, I want to keep building that and keep adding to that. I'm not sure when I would deactivate that. Now, in the case of seasonality, I might, like with recipes, for example, I might have a Thanksgiving thing and then turn that off in lieu of the Christmas thing, in lieu of the New Year's thing. But I'm not sure I understood the question there. To confirm, you're adding people into another series based on when they finish the first series based on clicks? Not necessarily. You can, Ari. So with my Disney Cruise, let's go through this. I have somebody comes in through my quick start guide about Disney Cruise. Boom, they're on my list. I add them automatically to my Forever series about Disney cruising. They get 30 weeks of emails. At the end of that, I don't have any more. I could go write more content and add to it. Then I add them to the general Disney interest Forever series. That's not based on clicks. That's based off of the action that they took originally to get into the Disney Cruise quick start guide. Does that make sense? Yeah, that's why I'm saying that this quick start guide up front is the easiest way to segment. Do an air fryer quick start guide, and you know that you've got air fryer people. So let's say that you only have 5 more emails in a air fryer Forever series. Great. They get those 5, then they can be in your general recipes Forever series. Whatever you come up with. What's the other question answer? Will be willing to pull up ConvertKit while sharing your screen, literally show me exactly what. Yeah, I can do that. I'm going to have to stop recording because I don't want to publish email addresses out there. So I'll do that in just a second. All right, any other questions? Okay, tomorrow. Tomorrow is the best day of our lives. I can't wait for it.
I have one quick question.
Yes.
Sorry. So when you have new published posts on your blog, do you just drop it to the end of the Forever series? Since I think you said you don't ever do the RSS feed.
No, I'll do RSS depending on the topic and if people
Oh,
like
okay.
it. Yeah, but if it is evergreen and it's related to your content, the question to ask is where does it fit in the journey? So let's say Disney Cruise, I discover for whatever reason that a new perk comes out and it's going to be around a long time. It's important, this new perk. I'm not going to put that at the end because at the end I have goofy things like my playlist to listen to when you're driving to the port or something silly. I'm going to put that up at email number 3. That's the glory of the Forever series, is that you get to decide where to put it.
And the people who are already in that list, because you're keeping them in the list, they will get that
Actually,
email
if
that
they're
you
past,
added?
like if I'm putting it in slot number 3, this is ConvertKit specifically. If I'm putting it in
Yeah.
slot number 3, they're already past slot number 3. They will not get it. So
Oh,
what do I do
okay.
then? If it's important, I send it to everybody.
Mhm.
I do it as a broadcast.
Got
And
it.
then I will add it into my Forever series. Yes, it's possible somebody might see it again somewhere down the line. So be it. If it's important, that's how I manage it.
No, that makes total sense. Thank you.
When is the subscriber list considered to be cold? I've been collecting emails for the past few years and not used them. Oh, Danae, depends on how you got them, but yeah, they're probably cold and gone. If you haven't emailed them in a couple of years, what you're probably going to do is do more damage to your sending reputation if you try, because what will happen is you'll get a whole bunch of people that will report you as spam because they don't remember. If you are dead set on doing it, then the email that you send one email, the unsubscribe message should be at the very top in big and bold. You don't want them to hit spam. You want them to hit unsubscribe. And then you say something like, hey, I know it's been a while. I took a big trip to Mexico and I loved it, but now I'm back and I'm going to start sending you great stuff. If you don't want it, no worries. Click this button to unsubscribe. But just to show you how awesome this stuff is, check these out. 1, 2, 3, whatever it is. Okay. So you want to try to engage them. But yeah, your best bet is to start over, because you're probably, just the way that email works, these people are just, if you didn't hear from you, they didn't remember you to begin with. All right. I'm going to stop recording now and answer Anne's probing question and see if we can help her out. All right. Thanks, everybody.